Ladies and gentlemen, this is Silas Knowles, the ZB Pirate, not PB Pirate, but the ZB Pirate. You follow me at ZB Pirate on Twitter. We are the PB Podcast, pushboundconsulting.com, bringing you your weekend professional development. So if you're on the couch, just hanging out, drinking that cup of afternoon coffee, or driving or listening to us on the headphones, please sit back, relax. We talk about some collaboration on the new Blue Book, 100 no-nonsense things that all school leaders should stop doing. We're going to talk to Rachelle Poth and her new book, what she's doing, ThriveEDU, all the things that she's been done and doing in education. And she's a lawyer. I mean, guys, come on, this is important. She's a lawyer too. So, we got all these things happening. It's Christmas time, guys. We hope everyone, all the educators out there, are doing well, taking some time for yourselves. Right around the corner, guys. Christmas is here. So definitely take that mental break, and we're almost there. So you know what time it is. Let's hit some PD.
We come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the PB Podcast. I'm Silas Knowles. Today on the show, Rachelle Poth, talking about her collaboration to the Blue Book, things that she's doing in education, discussing ThriveEDU, a new book around the corner for her. But before we get to that, let's get to a little piece of business. We are Pushbound Consulting, 22 professional consultants covering all your needs from instructional strategies to social emotional learning, technological innovation, leadership support, coaching. We're authors, trainers, coaches, PD specialists. If you are looking for that next networking event, educational event, PD, professional development at your school, if you're a superintendent, administrator, looking for literally the buffet that feeds everyone's needs and you don't have to worry about checking with everyone, if you will, contact pushingboundariesllc@gmail.com. There's our phone number and there's our website to take a look at what we do and how we do. So, guys, like I said, Christmas break is right around the corner. I hope everyone is well. It feels like May and it's December. So it's one of those things where you look at it, you're just like, where is the time gone? And so just want to say thank you to all the administrators, superintendents, and educators out there putting in the work, doing what you do, and making sure we serve our kids the best way we know how. I always look around and I try and find unique ways to introduce guests. So this is the unique way I found to introduce mine. So let's figure out if I know how to work some technology and see if that works.
Physical, mental, and emotional health. With this foundation in place, we're ready to start playing and leveling up our game. Rachelle Poth is going to show us what it looks like to go rogue, so to speak, and light up the learning energy with digital breakouts, augmented and virtual reality, project-based learning, and choice boards in flexible, student-driven learning environments. Rachelle, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you here and to take that foundational learning that we've engaged in and give us either ideas for those folks who are like, I'm just stepping into this, what else is out there? And for those attendees and members that we have who are already in this space and want to have some fun.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited for the opportunity and just listening to you read the different, choices and things that I'm going to be sharing. The one thing that I hope everybody remembers is like, you don't have to do all of these things It's about having a lot of different ways for students to engage in learning, especially now with, the changes with our schools. A lot of the ideas are meant to be done in the classroom, but they can also be done outside of the classroom as well. Definitely fun for students.
That was supposed to kick off quicker than that. So with that said, guys, this is Rachelle Poth. Rachelle, how are you? That video, I mean, it's like you never leave your office. Come on, I always see you in the same office.
Yeah,
and different angles and stuff.
I do, and I was very nervous because I was like, I hope I wasn't wearing the same thing, but because that would have been a little bit awkward, because it truly would have looked like I have not left this seat since last March for spring Q when that happened. So yeah, no, it's good to be here, and I have to say that the first thing that you played, the Rita Pearson, Every Child Needs a Champion, like that TED Talk is just so impactful. One of my favorites of all time, and hearing it and seeing it, it just like, it gives me chills. But that is something that I've included in some of my books too. And it's a good reminder every day, like just to be, you never know what our students need, because they don't often tell us or it's not very obvious. And so every single moment matters, and getting to know the students and our colleagues and just being there for one another, especially in this last, goodness, year and a half. And like you said, like, where does the time go? How can it possibly be December? I feel like I just said to somebody, I cannot believe it's the end of April and now it's almost mid-December. So, but thank you for the invitation to be here. I'm always excited to talk to you.
Of course, we always appreciate what you do, and definitely, we always want to highlight the 5-year mission for the Star Trek fans out there, as it will, from the red to the purple and in between. So if you haven't picked up the bestseller, Amazon.com, 100 No Nonsense Things That All Teachers Should Stop Doing, what are you doing? This is in everyone's PD library. This is something that every teacher should have. But we're up to the blue book, in the middle of the journey and everything else, if you will. And Rachelle has an interesting take on this one. I mean, I looked at the chapters, and are you kidding me? I mean, are you saying leaders should not run PD or faculty meetings by themselves? Mine does it all the time. No, I'm kidding. Boss, I'm kidding. But I mean,
Yeah.
is this something that you've seen, or where did you draw from this, where it came from, for what leaders should stop doing and why?
Yeah, it's a great, and I don't want to offend anybody either by saying that, like, no, absolutely not. I mean, and I just froze too, so I look very shocked. Hopefully you can still hear me, because
I can still hear you. You're fine.
all right.
You're just
So
like,
that was perfect
like,
timing. I was just like,
yes.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I was so shocked. But no, it's something that either, just colleagues in my school, members of my PLN, conversations, and even in this past year and a half, I mean, how many times have you seen people post like the meeting that could have been an email or something, or having PD meetings or even faculty meetings where we're all gathered there together, but we don't get to interact with one another. And even in my classroom, and we are a small school, and I just saw one of the teachers the other day, and I said, oh my goodness, I don't think I've seen you in like 3 months. And we're, like I said, we're in a small school, but we're also busy. We're either in our classrooms or right outside our classroom doors, interacting with students, here and there, get to go to the office or faculty. I mean, I don't eat lunch in the faculty room because my lunch period is not an actual lunch period, because I did a little switcheroo so students could have Spanish 3 in their schedule. And I was fine waiting to have lunch 2 hours later, like totally fine. But so, when we have that time together, so that was my take on it. It's like, you don't need to be in the lead. Teachers need to have an opportunity to like share what they're doing in their classroom. I learned so much from everybody else. We don't often get to have those conversations where, I mean, I'll throw an example out, using, if you're bringing in a new LMS, for example, like Canvas or Schoology or whatever it is that your school might be using, and you are just in your own classroom figuring out how to use it. If you have a chance to talk to somebody that, hey, I did this really neat thing with it, like, when else do you have those opportunities? Emails are great, but everybody's bogged down with emails too. So if you can kind of let teachers take the lead and do like a share, not even for the whole, I mean, there are times where it really does need to be a focused meeting because there's information coming through, there's new initiatives, there's mandated trainings, and that all definitely needs to stay. But whenever you can kind of add in opportunities for teachers to like share what they're doing in their classroom or share what the challenges are and really have an open conversation, I just think that's super powerful. And it also helps teachers to, build their leadership skills as well, and, be part of that whole planning and sharing process.
I've been in many schools that have had both, and I think the schools that actually allow their teachers and some of their staff members to lead the PDs have more powerful ones instead of the same old, like the meeting that should have been an email. That's the most popular statement at my school, is like, this should have been an email, or that should have been an email. And it's one of those things where if you gain that leadership support with everybody else, that it could be helpful to just empower everyone. Say, hey, they did it, maybe I can do it too, or this person can do it too. And you build more leaders and you build a stronger school. But then I have been in schools that it's just the same thing every time, like they're reading from a script. I mean, have you ever been in a meeting where someone read slides to you? I have. That was fun.
Yes, yes, and not so much, like, not really. If other people come and do a presentation on something, I've found that happens more often. But I have been to external training things, and it really is, even as a student too, where we had the slides, they were reading the slides, we had a printout of the slides, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest experience, but I don't know, everybody has their style. But I think the other piece of it too that I think is important with teachers is, like, whenever we have those meetings, if we're all just sitting and listening and not active, I think, and I'll say my own experience, like, that is what I transferred over my classroom as well. Is like, I was standing and I was talking at them, and they're just sitting there, not really interacting or being social. And so I think we create what we experience. And so that was another component of, like, my thinking behind, let teachers, like, share what they're doing. Cause I would love to know what art teachers are doing, and if they're learning anything about, like, Spanish art, and I can connect and work together. So lots of possibilities.
Definitely, definitely. So with what you do and everything, Rachelle, what do you think? What do you think we're doing in education that's right nowadays? Like, are we doing anything right to improve the students, even if in this pandemic, and hopefully coming out of this pandemic? But is there anything going right in education from your perspective?
Yeah, I think a little bit on, feel like I'm on the spot now. Like, oh, what's going right? Yeah, there are a lot of things going right. I think even last year that was so challenging, and it continues to be challenging, because we shifted from being fully virtual to hybrid, or maybe some schools weren't even affected. But then for me at the start of this year, I was like, I almost feel like I don't remember how to teach fully in person. Like, what do I do? Because I went back, we were relying on technology or a mix, and we're looking, well, I don't need to use all these materials. I thought I needed them, but now that I'm virtual and we don't have access, now I try all these new things. And so I think what's going right in education is that educators are embracing, like, the risk taking. They're looking for new technologies or tools to, like, connect students in different ways. I think there's been a bigger focus on the relationships and how much that matters. I don't want to say, like, forget the content totally, but building those relationships and putting those supports in place for students. I mean, social emotional learning, that was not something that I knew a lot about years ago. And in this past year and a half, we hear so much about it, and not just the importance of, like, students need to build their skills in this, but the why behind it, preparing them for who knows what's coming 5, 10 years, or even tomorrow, right? Like last year, we didn't really know March 12th, like, what was going to happen March 13th onward. So we are doing a lot of things right, and we created new opportunities. We tried things in the past year that maybe we just need that extra push to give it a go, and saw, like, oh yeah, this kind of works way better than what I've been doing. We learned to collaborate with other people from not just our school or local schools, but around the world. So I think there's a lot that we are doing right. Of course, there's always room to grow. My students will say, "Oh, well, you've been doing this for years," or you. I said, "Do you even think that, like, I'm not that great? You're a good teacher." I'm like, "No, no." They're, "Yeah, you're a great teacher." I'm like, "Nah, I make mistakes every day, like, all the time." I said, "There's always room to improve, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to embrace failures, and to look at something, and go, oh yeah, that was really a terrible idea." So, another response to your question, since I just keep going, is, like, I think we've become more
Go on,
reflective
go
too.
on.
No, 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 I need to, like, silence me. Like, this is Rachelle and I'm finished speaking. But I think we've become more reflective in our practice too, and vulnerable in sharing our stories and the challenges. So I think there are a lot of good things that have come out of something that was not a really great experience, and it was negative and it was hard. but it's helping us to push through and move forward. So
I had a student. I'm finishing up with my student teacher currently, and I had to retrain him in the. He thought it was all about the content and the curriculum, and I had to retrain him and just be like, no, it's not. It's like it's about the delivery and the relationships.
mhm,
And he was so focused on the content, he completely bypassed the relationships and everything else. And I'm like, and it was kind of wasn't a struggle, but it was more of it was time consuming because you had to make that flip. Because I think back in teacher school for all of us, or if you're in
right,
teacher school right now, it's not about being the expert in Spanish or the expert in history or anything
mhm,
else. I mean, you could learn all about that and become it, but if you're not someone who can deliver it in a way that's effective to students, then they have a phone, they could look it up on their phone. That's why we're here, to be the conduit for the information to, like, spark their interest of why you should learn this and why you should be, a good student. And that's the
right.
thing I think we're struggling with now, is because we're coming back. And I don't know about your school. I know you have little ones, right? At your school, they're elementary or
We have a junior senior high. So my school is grade 7 through 12, and then 2 elementary schools. Yeah. But
did you have, like, are you going through a time of what's the word I can use, conflict in the hallway kind of thing lately? Is there a lot of
um,
conflict in the hallway?
I haven't seen any, but I've heard, the students talk and you think
Sure.
conversations, but I have noticed just in hearing them when they pass by in the hallway or as they come into the room, there seems to be more, I don't want to say tension. I don't know what the right word is for it, but it's like there's a pressure there, and it can be burnout too. It's been a long year, with everything we have to do and to stay safe and the content and like back to the normal, from a year ago. For some students, they weren't in school, physically in school all last year. And so it's a
Mhm.
huge change for them to be in and to have to be, accountable for like work and carrying books to their classes or passing in the hallways and all of that. And so there's definitely going to be growing pains. I think I've heard more of the like rumblings, maybe that's the right word, over the last couple of weeks here as we head into the almost the break period, but nothing major. At least I haven't heard. So
It's like with ours, it's a it's diverse community, and we were having a lot of conflict, and it was very visible.
okay,
And when we started having discussions on it and everything, we all talked about learning loss over the summer and last year. It's all about, well, what about the learning loss the kids are going to face before they come back? And no one thought about the social emotional. No one thought about the fact that they haven't socialized with each
right,
other face to face. It's always been to the phone like this for months, how they were going to react. And then now we're seeing it. And I think there was I mean, I'm in Chicago, like Proviso East, they had 52 of their parents go through their school as like security guards, and like Louisiana had that too, where the parents came in and patrolled the hallways to make it
mm,
feel safer for the kids. And I know it's not everywhere, but it's starting to pop up more and more that not socializing. I think it's going to take a year or
mhm,
so to kind of like get the levels back to normal of
yeah,
kids just being able to talk to each other. I mean, I don't know about you, but I remember a day where I would just knock on someone's door and be like, "Hi, how are you?" And you want to go out and play and everything else.
yeah,
And you don't have to do that anymore. You just be like, "Hi," and you just do all your stuff through this thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my phone, but I
yeah,
think it's just given our students this incredible crutch to rely on for
mhm.
communication and everything else. And it's good in some ways, but sometimes, I mean, haven't they like categorized it as like a psychological problem or something with fine? I don't know if it's called phonitis or whatever, but I mean, I
Yeah.
could I could be wrong about that.
No, you that the whole phone thing, I mean, adults too, we're the same. We're connected on our phones, and I forget where I had either read it or I heard it said one time, and it was just, you go out and you are in public and you observe, if you're in a restaurant, you're wherever you are, and you see like, are people actually talking to each other? And you look and there's like a table full of everybody, like nobody's talking, they're all on their phones. At the start of my classes, the period didn't start yet, and I look and most every kid is on, like, look face down in their phone. And I don't have them. I have not recently had them put them in this little phone case just because we use them sometimes if they look up information or we play a game. And with the movement and everything, it's just easier for them to have it. But I've said recently, like, look, I need for you to put the phone down. And somebody one point said, unless you are on active military duty, you are an emergency, worker, a surgeon, or somebody's on call, or the president, then you really don't need to have your phone like right there all the time, because like engage in that social activity, talk to each other, build those skills. And I've said that to a couple students lately, jokingly, like, are you on active military duty? Like, wait, are they waiting for you for surgery? And they're like, no, I'm in ninth grade. You know, oh, so you don't really need your phone right there, like connected to the wall and in your hands. I was like,
That's
yeah.
beautiful. I'm going to use that starting Monday. Are you a surgeon?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. That's gonna be the new go-to now. So
Yeah. And
have you seen more success with using
phrasing? It's definitely entertaining, I think, for some of the students when I say that, because and one student said to me, you're on your phone too. And I said, I don't even know where my phone is half of the time. Like, legitimately, I don't. I put it down in my room, and because sometimes I'll launch an activity from my phone instead of the board, just because I'm moving around, I want to see where they are. But anyway, I said, no, I'm not. But I tell them, like, the thing to do is, if you are waiting for a phone call, or there's something, there's something going on personally and you need the phone by you, like, just tell somebody and say, hey, I get this call comes through. And it's the same for teachers too. I mean, I know a lot of teachers are on their phone because we're connected, and families and everything. And but yeah, that line, those lines, it is pretty, but it's true, right? Like, we don't
It
actually
is.
need them. But yeah, I say, when I was your age, we didn't have the phones. So, like, you weren't looking anything up. There was nothing. We were taking notes in a notebook in our rooms, and that was it. Like,
There
so
were
I know.
pencils and pens
There
and
were
stuff like that.
pencils. Yeah, we had
Oh
those.
my!
Now apparently, like, I need to give those out like every single day. Like, they come to class about pencils. I'm like, what have you done all day? We didn't need to write anything. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't need to write anything?
I
It's
just took
just
this post. I just took a picture with my phone. That's all I
they
did. That's all
did.
I needed.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what they needed to do. So
Gosh.
when people hear your name, they associate a hashtag with you. So explain to everyone what Thrive and EDU is.
Great question. So goodness, I think it's been about 2 years ago, maybe. I don't know, because the whole like 2020 timing might be off. But I was trying to come up with a name for my LLC for my consulting and tossing around ideas. But then I came up with the word Thrive, which actually, I had the LLC. Then I formed a community on Facebook last summer. But one of my books that came out last December, True Story, Lessons That One Kid Taught, I broke it into the themes. And the word Thrive actually stands for tenacity, honesty, relatability, integrity, vulnerability, and empathy, and characteristics that, like, as educators, we want our students to develop. And so that's kind of how, I mean, initially that's how the word evolved, and then became my LLC. And then it's the community on Facebook and the hashtag that I use, and themes in the book as well.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, that anytime on Twitter you see Thrive and EDU, I know you're either recording something, putting some down on video, or anything else. And
Right.
I'm still waiting for another like little set. I love your what is it? Your message that's written on your wall right there. And I'm just waiting for more messages to pop up around the corner and everything else. So there you just
Yeah.
be like the evolution of the wall message just like streaming across like one giant collage of messages.
Well, there is more there. I just have to turn it.
Oh, okay. So you go to the left. Okay. See, I was going
Yeah.
clockwise.
Yeah. It's be patient is the one. And then below it, you can't really see it, but it says be humble is the other
And
one.
the inhale and exhale. I like that one
Yeah.
too.
Inhale courage, exhale fear. I said that to a student one time before they had to give a speech at graduation. And I just said, inhale courage, exhale fear. And then I found that and I read it somewhere. It wasn't like I made it up, but then I found that at the dollar store, and I was like, that's perfect. So I stuck
Yeah,
it to the wall.
Definitely. Now, and also with that, you have a new endeavor. I mean, I see you have your own podcast now. I mean,
Yeah.
is this true?
It is. And I've had, so I have to say it's not my first podcast because I have my own podcast that I've done since September of 2019. That but this is the first podcast where I'm actually talking to somebody in the podcast, because my own has been just me talking to myself. Although recently, actually, that has changed, because what I started to do is our live streams that we use with StreamYard, I go and I download them to the audio. And then I've been using those for the last couple of episodes, because we had some, like Dr. Katie Martin went on, we had George Koros on, Tim Cavey was on, and some other people. So I was like, oh, I think I'm going to just download some of these and use that for my podcast. So I made the transition from me talking to myself to other people. But yeah, this one, this
This
one,
lady's not crazy. She's talking. She's talking to people
I
now.
know, entertaining myself, my own podcast, but with no edits. It's just, I sit down, talk, and record. But this one with BAM Radio Network, and it's through Define Learning, and it's focused on project-based learning and helping students to develop essential skills in STEM, and topics like social emotional learning also come up. But we had, the first episode came out was with Ross Cooper, and then Dr. JC Maslick was the second one, and the third one with Kendra Johnson is now released. And so with each of those, we have the short conversation, and then I've been writing a follow-up blog to kind of add in additional information and resources for teachers or anybody who's looking to get started with PBL.
And speaking of blog, I think I still have it up here. Where is it? I think it's here. Yes, it's here. So this is all about you and Thrive and EDU. So definitely off of Rachelle's Twitter page, you actually see all the things she's doing. So if you go to her Twitter at RDNE915, you will see everything about her, from all the podcasts she's doing to the learning to the books, tools, podcast episodes. I mean, do you sleep? You don't sleep, do you?
That's the number one question I get asked. Do I sleep? I do. I could always sleep more, but I've been really good about taking a nap every single day. So anybody who knows about the self-care and like the struggle with that, I've been focusing on a nice nap every single day, even if it's 20 minutes, like just to take a little break.
I think I just take a nap just from the sheer just exhaustion. Just I don't even force myself to take a nap. I just crunk out for 20 minutes,
Yeah, you
which
have
is
to.
basically now I know you have, my God, I mean, you have, what is it, 100 books now, 50? No. I mean, you have so many books about so many things that are awesome for all educators that should take a look at. You have all the EduMatch people as well in it. So you have the futures now, chart a new course, true story. In other words, this one I love because it's just, you just read quotes all the time that actually like make you think
Yeah.
about things that you're doing. But there is a new one coming called Things I Wish I Knew. And if you guys noticed, we got a little exclusive here. It's not even out yet. And we were just talking about how Amazon's so wonderful, and we know that on December 21st that the paperback version will be right there with the virtual version. But what is Things I Wish I Knew, which is the
Yeah.
newest addition to your library coming out soon?
So it's interesting. It's a book, and it's not just me, because I really love telling, or sharing the stories of others, and also telling stories to relating those stories. But there's just so much power in those stories for us to learn from. And so the whole premise of the book came from, like, how many times I have said, I wish I knew that when I started teaching, like the importance of relationships, about telling people that I was struggling, of having a mentor. There's all of these, a long list. And I just started to write it. So that was the idea behind it. And then I invited other educators to share stories about things that they wish, and it could have been anything, like things they wish students knew, things they wish administrators knew, things they wish people not in education knew about education, for example. And so I'm really excited about this book, because including myself, there are 50 different educators, well, 49 different ones, and myself. So there you go, the 50 from around the world with different backgrounds and experiences and years in education. And I'm just really excited for people to get the book in their hands and read it. And, if you're a new teacher, to read, like, after the first year, like if you're in your first year of teaching right now, lots of great things where, like, things I wish I knew when I first started teaching, things I wish I knew at this point. And it'll give you some advice, and then, help you to reflect and know that, like, you're not the only one that experienced something you might be experiencing now or have experienced. So there's things in there that will make you laugh, some that might make you cry, and everything in between. But it is, of course, I'm going to say it's a really good read because it's my book, but they're not all of my stories. And so that's the
I,
thing,
that would be awesome. I come across an author, be like, "Don't get it. It's horrible. Whatever."
No.
It's
Yep.
it's just a
I'd never
horrible
say
read.
that.
Oh, I will always say, and you know what, Rachelle, if you notice what I'm doing, I'm encouraging everyone to. Mine has been pre-ordered, so definitely that will be coming to me on the Kindle, because you guys are making so many books. I'm running out of actual
Oh my
bookshelf
gosh.
space, so
I
I'm
have
going
so
to the
many.
Kindle now. It's just, and that's the thing. I was talking to someone last week on the podcast. I'm just like, I guarantee. Oh no, it was Ray Hugerth from the Teach Better team, and I asked her. I was like, she had her bookshelf, like a little bookshelf behind her. I guarantee there's like half those books, or 75% of those books, are about teaching. And he goes,
Mhm.
"Yep." And it's like most of the stuff, and I guarantee you, if I see your little bookshelf back there, I guarantee you, are they all about teaching?
Oh
Or
yeah,
most about
those
teaching?
they're all the ones that I reference. I mean, a couple of them on top of mine, but they're all ones that I reference a lot. But then underneath my computer stand is this stack of to be read books here. And in the other room, there's a stack of 20 books. And upstairs, there are probably, I must have 300 different books that I've read, which that's where I get the quotes from. But yeah, I have my own little personal library here. If anybody wants professional development, just let me know. just put them outside. You can borrow
She
them.
has the knowledge and definitely everything else. And I think that's the one thing that everyone needs to remember, is that if you're in this game, if you're watching or listening, if you're a brand new teacher, or you're a teacher 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in the game, it's always about learning. I've always, you got to keep learning, because no one's perfect. I've seen teachers sit down in evaluations. I've been privy to sitting down them, and then them just saying, "Yeah, just give me a distinguished. I know everything." And I'm just like, "Are you serious? You have that much power that you just distinguished?" And I'm just like, "No,
Right.
that's not how it works, brother. You gotta actually learn the game, because this past 18 months shows that we just flipped it on its head, and we just have to keep rolling the way it's going." So
Mhm.
it's just been one heck of a ride, and I hope it gets easier, because the Tylenol is running out. I mean, my liver is not being able to take the Tylenol. I don't know. What is your
Mm.
mental, besides the nap, Rochelle? What is your go-to mental health thing?
Uh, I just really like to work. I mean, I'm happy to, like, work and learn. I haven't had as much time to read lately, but in terms of things that are good for me, going for a walk and listening to music, and if I could find the time to get back to practicing my guitar that I've had for 2 years, and I really thought I would be a lot better than I am right now, and I'm just absolutely not. I'm not. And I can't believe I've had it for 2 years. And my mom actually said to me the other night, maybe I'll get you a ukulele for Christmas. And I went, bad idea. I said, that guitar has not been touched in like a month. I don't need another instrument, because I have a piano back here too that I haven't touched in probably 2 years, other than to, like, put stuff on top of it.
Damn
And
you,
that's it.
teaching! Damn you,
Oh
education!
gosh.
And I
So
mean, and then we'll go into the spring, and we'll have 1 week, and then conferences and keynotes and all that wonderful PD stuff. The season of PD will start next summer, and hopefully we'll all still be able to travel around and stuff, and that'll just kick everyone in the butt, because that's like, all right, and we're off, and then
right.
everyone's going to be seeing each other at the airports for 3 months, and then we're back at it again.
I know. We never
It
stop.
never stops. So Rochelle, where can people find you on social media, dear?
Luckily, I'm consistent. It's RDENE 915. Yeah, RDENE 915. And that's Instagram, Twitter, my blog, my email, you name it. You can find me
You're not
there.
the real RDEN or all this other crazy stuff I've seen. So that's good, because I've seen a couple guests have not been consistent. So it's like, okay, so I'm Instagram here, I'm Facebook here, I'm Twitter. I'm like, hold on, let me write this down.
Yeah,
Facebook and Twitter. So that's good that you're consistent across the board.
I try.
So, Rachelle, I appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. We look
Yeah.
forward to your collaboration on book 2. Have you gotten the call for book 3?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. So we got to talk to Dr. Jetter about that, but definitely we'll look forward to your collaboration on book 2. The powers that be have told me that early 2022 is what we're looking at as the release. So hopefully
Nice.
we'll be seeing that very soon. Rachelle, thank you for doing what you're doing for our kids in education, and we look forward to seeing you out there out and about and listening to your podcast, new book coming out, and everything else. So thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you.
happy holidays if we don't talk to you.
Yeah, same to you. And next time I talk to you, I'll try to have a different chair. I'll be on
All right.
location somewhere else.
And I won't get a video. He's like, make sure it's not what she's wearing right now. So have you seen the commercial? Have you seen the commercial, Rachelle?
Have I seen the commercial?
That's probably, have you seen it?
Maybe. Which commercial?
Maybe. The commercial for pushing boundaries.
I think you should show me, though. I think you should do it again.
There you go. I think I should show you to remind you. So everyone, this is PB Podcast. This is pushboundconsulting.com. I'm Silas Knowles. Visit us at our social media platforms on the bottom. Please visit Rachelle Dene Poth and all the wonderful things she's doing out there in social media land. And just remember, what are you doing to push the boundaries of your classrooms, if it's virtually or in person? What are you doing to push those boundaries? And just remember, we're here for our students.